Okay, I'm recording, so let's go ahead. Let's get started.
All right. Thank you, everyone. Welcome to our Mastermind. So congratulations to everyone that has been participating actively, whether that means, watching the replay and making sure they do all the homework on their own or jumping on the calls. Because up until this point now, we have gone through the STAR training. So if you've done everything in that section, then you have all that you need to hit STAR or to help one of your teammates to hit STAR. So if for whatever reason, your goal was in a certain amount of time to hit STAR and you haven't, then I would just encourage you to go back and see if there's any sections of that you're not implementing. Like maybe your follow-up is weak. Maybe you need to watch more YouTube videos on follow-up and just continue to fine-tune those skills, because honestly, that's why we have this mastermind. One of the results of, I think, Dana and Anthony and myself looking back through the training and thinking, what is it that we're not implementing that is not allowing our businesses to move forward? So this would encourage everyone to do that. So then now we're starting our Senior Star training. So again, our goal is to now get 4 stars on our team, and that will help us hit Senior Star. And what we're going to learn in the Senior Star training is going to help us to do that. So we started with the live section, and let me share my screen. I'll share screen. All right, so one of the things that it was a short video about understanding pre-product and essential rewards product. So that was just a good point, making sure that, a lot of times we might text out the monthly promos or just explain it to people so that they know the clear difference between that. And then the other thing that there was a graphic here about using essential oils in more areas of your life. So we just had a nice little PDF. So this is honestly something we could save in order to share with other people. And then just for our own knowledge, if there's some of these products that we haven't tried, we can put them on our wish list. And then there was a guide for us to tell our stories compliantly. So I don't know if anyone tried to use that. I personally already have a story that's typed out, because I do need it sometimes, like for chambers, for like newsletters and stuff like that. And it's also, I send it as information about myself, introducing myself to other people in the chambers. But did anyone have an opportunity to take a look at this or use something else to start writing out their compliance story? And if so, like, what did you learn from doing that?
This is Andrea. I like the way that the format was set up to make you think about it, because first of all, I kind of have an idea what my story is, but I didn't actually take the time to write it out, but it really helped me to form it more in my mind so that I will write it out. I'm still looking for some of those do's and don'ts on compliancy, because I don't know exactly where the line is, how far I can go toward that line. I know what I want to say, but what I want to say is not compliant. So I don't know if I'm being too cautious, which I know there's nothing wrong with being too cautious, but I know for myself, when I was coming into Young Living, I want to hear the stories, the unabridged stories. To me, that makes a lot of sense. And I'm able to say, okay, I understand that's your experience. It's not what the oils are promising, but I do get that not everybody can do that. So, but I did like the way that the form was set up.
Andrea, did you happen to see the video that I did on compliancy on the JW Oilers team?
No, I don't think I did.
Okay. I'll see if I can tag you in it.
Okay, that was great.
You can definitely tell your full story. The thing that we forget, though, is how much an impact the community has on us, how much an impact the other changes that we make have on us. And like Shannon Hudson, I don't know if you watch her at all on YouTube, but she does a great job at telling her story. And when she tells her story, she tells that, you know, she had cancer and her mom had cancer, and you can mention all that stuff. The thing is, as long as you can say it in a way that you have multiple inputs coming into that, and at no point in time you're saying that any one oil cured one disease, then you can tell your full story.
Oh, okay. See, that's where I needed to go. I was being a little too strict.
So I'll tag you. I'll try to find it and tag you in that video, because it was like a 30-minute video that I did, but it was like at 11 o'clock at night, and I wasn't what do you call it? Moderator at that time, so no one could see it until it was approved.
Right.
Because I discussed some of that a little bit in it.
All right, that's cool. Thank you, Tashina.
All right. Anyone else take a look at this, telling your story, and have any thoughts or any additional thoughts from how else you've put your compliance story together?
So I did take a look at it. And one of the things that really stuck out to me was the what was it like section at the bottom. What was life like before Young Living, now, and I can't remember what the third one is because it's being blocked by my screen here. Where is your future heading? And it just made me, because I had never written my own story. I knew kind of what my story was, and I use it every time that we teach a class, because I gradually kind of came along after my wife had started with Young Living, but I never stopped to think about like what life was like before and to compare it to now. As far as like, how do I feel? What is my outlook and prospect on life? And so I think that's important, because, you know, like even the section that talks about how Young Living has impacted your life, like your lifestyle, your dreams, your goals, we have different goals than we did probably about 2 years ago. We look at things when it comes to diet and exercise and healthcare completely different than we did 2-3 years ago, and I worked in the medical field. So I think it's just very interesting. Like if you take the time to actually go through it and write down, even if you're not a writer, I mean, you're encouraged to write it down, but just think about those things, because it kind of did give me a lot of perspective, especially when you look at growth and where you are within your business. So I think it's very important. If you haven't written a story and you need to write one still, like, look at that.
That's a great point. I do appreciate that point, because one of the things that is always impressive to me is when I have a Facebook story pop up and it talks about when I was suffering before Young Living. And like, so sometimes we feel like, well, I can't share anything because I'm still not at the perfect weight, or I'm still getting sick, or my gut isn't healthy. But if you really sat down and think about where you were a year ago or 2 years ago before Young Living, aren't you like doing 150% better? And isn't it good for you to, even though you're still at maybe 20% of your journey and got a long way to go, grab some people and take them with you? Because like when I sit and think about how I was before Young Living, like seriously, it's night and day. There was a wedding on Friday. They had a bouncy house, and everyone at my hall is sick. Everyone, people missed service and barely got to the memorial. All these people were in the back room because they're like 50% of my hall is sick, and they're all like, that's because of the bouncy house, because kids got germs, and people was hugging each other, and we were too much around each other. And I was like, really? I don't feel anything. Don't feel anything at all. Okay. All right. And some of y'all done bought a kit for it, and you're not using your thieves. And if you were using your thieves, y'all wouldn't have got sick either. But that's okay. I'll just keep reminding you to use your thieves. And apple cider vinegar and organic honey and lemon, along with everything else, that natural remedies that helps you to stay above the wellness line.
Good save.
Any other thoughts on how to get a compliant story together or the form? All right, if not, I will move.
Julie, go ahead. You're unmuted.
I was just going to say that everybody who's ever been to convention, every speaker that gets up on that platform has a story. And they have those stories so down pat that they flow out of their mouth and they never skip a beat. And you brought up Shannon Hudson, and Shannon, although hers varies a little bit each time she does it, the crux of that story is always the same. So those people, and if anybody heard Adam Green last year, Adam Green has gone away and done his story with Bill Bliss, or I think that's his name. I can't think right offhand. 4-year career guy. He literally went and learned that story that he told, and he told it so fluently. It was just amazing. So that's what we need to do. And it's not, I'm not going to say that I've got mine down pat either. I don't have any kind of printing system where I'm at, and I haven't had since I've been down here. So I can't print any of this stuff out, but I want to follow it. So I'm just kind of holding off till I get home. I have written my story out before a few different times. My story's kind of the same when I do a class, but I really need to hone it down and know that so that when I'm not doing a class necessarily, I'm just talking to people, I can really tell my story in a compliant way. And if you hear any of those people on the platform, they have a great story and it's always compliant, but it's so compelling that you just want to follow them. So it's just something to think about. That's all.
Great point. All right, so the next section, going into the belief section, talks about our colors. So this is a topic that is old as time. Like this comes from ancient Greek, the 4 divisions of personality types, starting with the disc personality types. And personality plus is actually my preferred method that uses the choleric, phlegmatic, melancholy, and sanguine, but they all match. When we were at GoPro in Las Vegas, there was so many other companies and they were using birds and they were using animals and they were telling me that like a choleric is a shark, and just, so there's so many ways to divide it up. But at the end of the day, the point is, and Big Al was here at Shannon's and he was talking about his and giving his version of the colors. The point is not for us to box ourselves or other people in by this, because everyone is an individual. And that's one of the reasons why I really like Personality Plus at the beginning. It really stresses that at each chapter. The point is to know what your a way to figure out what your strengths and your weaknesses are, and also understand the language to speak to other people if they have a certain tendency. That's the reason why we do it. We don't do it to excuse ourselves and or you're just gonna have to deal with me because I'm red, or I can't be organized because I'm blue. That's not the point at all. The point is for us to just know who has certain strengths. Like if you want to have a good time at the party, you want to make sure that the blues get the fun stuff to do to have a good time at the party. If you want it to start on time and be organized, you want to make sure that the greens got the details and that the reds are making sure everything is aligned. That's what you're supposed to use it for. Playing to certain people's strengths and being able to communicate more clearly with people that may not have the same strengths as you. So just a little bit on that. So I guess from any of the participants that haven't shared yet, like Jenny, you want to share with us like what your personality is, what things you've learned and how it's been helpful to you in your business? Jennifer, are you talking? Because I think you're on mute.
She's unmuted, but we can't hear her. I don't know if her audio is not tied in.
Okay. Aisha, I don't know did you have a chance to look at this information or no?
No, I didn't.
Okay.
All
All right. So I just leave that for you as homework, then, go into this section and take that test.
Okay.
And then, Andrea, did you get a chance to take the test? I know you've had a little heartburn with us talking about this in the past. Did you learn anything new or think there was anything valuable from the information?
Yeah, I actually did. I had taken, I guess, a scaled down version of somebody's before, and my agita was because to me the questions were so undefined, or the answers were so undefined, that it was hard for me to find the right answer. But with this version that came up through the link, I actually found it a little fascinating, and I was curious, and I came up as a green, which I was not expecting. But I really liked that one point was, this is not, yes, for you to know yourself, but more for you to be able to recognize what someone else is, and so you know how to speak to them. And I found that really, really, really fascinating, that aspect of it. Unfortunately, that information doesn't come until you buy and read the book, which I will do once I get through the stack of the other books that I'm on. But for me, just listening to some other people in Young Living, I feel like my brain is going to bleed out of my ears, because they're clearly so far blue that I lose patience with them. And I know there's one girl that I'm following on Instagram who I really like her posts, and I really like what she talks about. But when she does her stories, she puts up one of those Snapchat things and does her entire 15 shot long story education, all this wonderful information, sounding like somebody that belongs on a Disney cartoon. And it makes, I couldn't watch it after a couple of minutes. It drove me crazy. And I thought, all this great information that she's giving, but she's shooting herself in the foot. And I realized that's her, that's not me, but if I had somebody that was like that on my team, I wouldn't know how to deal with them. So I think this is a really good thing for me to learn, because so much better to work with them than kill them.
Can I say something real quick? So, Andrea, I am green-yellow, and more green than yellow, but usually it's about even. And I completely understand, because I pretty much have a team of blue-reds or red-blues. But I will say, like, when you're describing that person, with the Snapchat or whatnot, the people that are going to be drawn to her, like, actually don't even care what she's saying. They're like, that's hilarious. Oils. Yeah, I'm going to buy some. Like, it didn't even matter what her story was. They have no clue what she's talking about. So, like, that, and you just have to remember, have fun and do things big. So that's why, for me, a rally is like, oh my goodness, why would people want to do this? But, like, I'm pushing so much to have my team there and make sure that's a part of the community, because I know that is important for my team.
I can see that. Thank you.
So I do have a couple of cheat sheets that I can share, and I can put them in the group chat afterwards. So before, you buy the book and read the book, and they really are helpful for me. So then there's just this general one that explains based on the colors. So yellows love to help others. They put their own needs last. They enjoy encouraging others, comfortable behind the scenes. So again, as Dana was saying, the yellow personality, if you want to get them to do something, oh, I really need your help. Can you run this thing in the background here? You're not going to have to talk to people or anything. Like, that's yellow. Green is the researcher, very methodical, slow to make decisions, uncomfortable in new situations, likes facts and dates. Blue loves to have fun, life of the party, enjoy meeting new people, love to travel. Red is self-motivated, driven to succeed, leader and planner, well-organized, comfortable taking charge. And then This one is based on the disc personality. So the D is the red personality. And so I'm not going to read all of these because this is a lot of words. But again, it just gives you some more. The D is the red. The I is the blue. The C is the green. The S is the yellow. So one of the things that I really like about this graphic that I want to point out, and one of the flaws I think of the color personality, it shows you which one are the active styles. So both the red and the blue are very active. They like to do stuff. They like to move. Whereas the green and the yellow are passive. They just like to go with the flow. They don't want to be seen. Which is a little bit different than extrovert and introvert, but it kind of aligns. And then the other thing with the choleric, or the red and the green, they're task oriented, and the blue and yellow are people oriented. And those are huge keys to communicating with them. It does not really have to do with being a people person. It's when they think of things, they think about people first. And the red and the green, when they think about things, they think about tasks first. So when you're communicating with a blue or yellow and you say things like, well, that's going to hurt their feelings, it's going to look like this, that's very motivating to them. But if you say that to a red or a green, they're like, what does that have to do with anything? Not that they don't like people, but they just think of the task first. So if you, in your head, you're thinking, well, you can't do that because it's going to hurt their feelings. If you can find a way to communicate that, well, you don't want to do that because that's going to make them uncomfortable and they're not going to perform. They're not going to show up. They're not going to do this. If you create a task out of that, the red and the green will understand that better. So that's a little bit of key of how to communicate with them. And then this one is based on the personality plus. So the sanguine is the blue, the choleric is the red, the melancholy is the green, the phlegmatic is the yellow. And again, there's a lot of words on here, so I'm not going to read all of the words, but it's giving you some clues as to communication style and how to talk to them. Like the blue and the red are the outgoing, optimistic, outspoken ones. So when you're talking to them, you're going to be more loud, more forceful, more outgoing. The yellow and the green are the introverted, pessimistic, soft-spoken. So if you're a blue-red and you're trying to talk to a yellow-green, you want to know you're going to tone it down. You're going to scare them if you talk to them in your blue-redness because they're soft-spoken, they're introverted. They want quiet. They don't want loud, outspoken, outgoing. So this is just another chart that helps with the communication between the colors. And then, again, everybody's unique. Their blend is unique. You have to get to know the person. Almost everyone is 2, sometimes 3. Like me, myself, I'm like 50% red, 30% green, 20% blue. If I am in a group of people, I will be more red-blue than anything. If I'm like at work and on task, I will be more red-green than anything. So you got to figure out everyone's combination, but I'm definitely an outgoing, optimistic, outspoken person. When you're communicating with me, that's the best way to communicate with me. Sometimes I'm going to want some details behind it if I got to spend money or do a lot, but because I do have that green and I can dig into the details because I have that green, so that helps me, but just the key of how to communicate.
So Tashina, real quick, Aisha just put in the chat, she thinks she's blue. Aisha, yes, you are blue because you're on my team.
Yep, you are. Okay, Julie, any wisdom? You guys know I could talk about this for 2 hours, and I have done an hour training, so that's all I'm going to say, and we'll move to the next thing. But Julie, any little insight you want to provide before we move to the next topic?
I was just going to touch on a couple of books
that I thought were really good. The Strength Finders 2.0, and then Mach 2. Rise of the Entrepreneur is a must-see video for any network marketer. It's just something that will help you explain it to people and help you to seal in your head why network marketing is the way everything is starting to go. Brick and mortar's on its way out. Anyway, that's a really good one. And then Mach 2, I bought that book when I first started, and I still have not read it through. I started reading it because it really, really is something that you have to really work on yourself in the way you think, changing mindset, getting rid of the baggage and all that. And at the time when I bought it, I just wasn't ready to do that. It might be time to revisit though. But that's a really tough book. It's a short little book, but it's a tough book because if you do it the way it wants you to do it, you really have to take a good deep look at yourself. But if you have not weaknesses, if you have things that are really holding you back, that keep you really just holding you back, that's a good book to go to help you work through those things. Other than that, there was just a couple other things from before. I know you kind of touched on them, but that part where the EOs in our life, I think just knowing that, you know, there's all these little recipes, no bake energy balls. We can make Mother's Day gifts, 7 oils that we must have. There's so many little things in these sections that if we get to know these sections, we can direct people right to them. I forgot all this. And I just thought that's a really great thing to know. For people who are into making takes and stuff, send them right there. They can go and get a whole list of stuff. But anyway, that's it. No, nothing else.
I just wanted to briefly add to some of the things that Julie was talking about. So I'm actually reading Randy Gage's book, Making the First Circle Work. Is it okay if we start to touch on that a little bit, Tashina?
Yep, we're now in that section.
Okay. So it's actually very interesting because between, and I'm sure we'll touch on it a little bit more, the 24/531 PDF and Making the First Circle Work, those books are all about duplication and how important duplication is within our business. But one of the things I really appreciate in the book, Making the First Circle Work, is it talks a lot about how we get into this habit or mindset of saying, well, I don't have duplication within my organization. I don't have people doing anything, or I wish people would do more of A, B, and C. And really it boiling back down to looking at the first circle, which is you. Because there's a lot of things that are out of your control. You might say, I'm going to enroll 10 people this month, but in the actuality, if they never actually sign up, that's out of your control. Some of the things that you can control that are duplicatable are, I'm going to talk to so many people this month or share with so many people this month. Another goal that he mentions that sometimes is common is, I want to hit this rank by this specific day. And he says that, you know, there's nothing wrong with having a goal, but once again, that is something that is reliant on other people doing certain things. So when you start with the first circle, which are the things that you have control over that are duplicatable, you're going to find that you not only feel like you have more success, but you're going to have more success because people feed off of that. And then really briefly, I wanted to touch on the 24/531. So for those who don't know what that is, Adam Green talks a lot about this in one of his presentations that I've heard him do. And as Tashina's showing in the screen there, if you pretty much enrolled 2 individuals every single month for a year, you would come out with 24 people. And so we know in this business, the more hands make the workload light, right? So if you empower and educate and help people to duplicate your efforts, as you can see, that number, if you did your 2 every single month, plus help others to do that as well, grows to 5,300 or 531,440. So when you look at the difference in how much more people you're able to bring into your organization through the means of duplication, it really helps you to appreciate why that's so important. That it's not just about you trying to work this all by yourself, but, you know, educating and empowering other people to do the same. Because $531,440. That's well past Royal Crown Diamond. Even if you did 50% of that, that's still Royal Crown Diamond. Even if you did a quarter, that's gold, platinum, or probably platinum up to diamond, somewhere in that area. So, even if you get a small percentage of this to duplicate, you're still going to have some excellent results.
I'd like to say something about that too. I watched the DVD, The Rise of the Entrepreneur, which I found fascinating, but that graphic on that PDF, I thought really brought it all home. And I like to make the point, that, hey, if you just want to do 24 in a year, that's fine. That's your business. That's what you want to do it. But why do that when you could have this instead? And it's amazing. You don't realize what a difference it could make just putting that power back in those people, the same people that you're bringing in, putting that back into them, what a difference it can make in a year. Like, if you asked me before I saw that, I would have said, oh, you probably end up with 50, 75, 100, whatever, 1,000. I would have never imagined it would be that much.
Jennifer, did you have any thoughts on any of the tools that you were able to get through? I think we still can't hear you. I don't know if you want to type something in the chat. Okay. Yeah, I really like the the Rise of the Entrepreneur DVD as well. I have not gone through Randy Gage Making the First Circle work because he does not have it in audiobook form. But soon I'm going to read that. And I'll probably just need to re-listen to Mach 2 with Your Hair on Fire because I don't know, that didn't, for whatever reason, it didn't resonate with me. I wasn't really getting, I guess, and if I had something I need to work through, I guess maybe it just didn't work for me via audiobook. But Strength Finders, as was already mentioned, is also good. Super, super good. We're actually using that at work as well in General Motors. Like, it was something that was part of our annual reviews to go through our strengths. So that's also a very good tool to get to know yourself and some of your teammates better when you know what their strengths are. All right, so then that takes us to effective communication. And there were a couple tools, again, mentioned here in this small section that we were supposed to go through, from Big Al, who we've seen him at least 3 times, I think, at Shannon's now, and he was here the last time. So he helps people know how to communicate with the proper language. Did anyone get to view the majority of this video from Big Al here? And if so, what were your thoughts?
I can make a comment on that. I watched it today, and my husband listened in the background, which he normally doesn't have anything to do with my Young Living. So it was kind of interesting when he did the little practices. I had people talk to their neighbor. My husband and I kind of riffed off of each other. And it's amazing how it works. I mean, as I heard the words coming out of my mouth, I was thinking to myself, how would I react if someone said this to me? But seeing how my husband reacted when he heard them, it was a totally different thing. And who would have thought that just those little key phrases could really turn it. And while I was sitting here just coming up with different ways that I would approach it for what I was doing, I enjoyed then listening to what the people in the audience, the different ideas that they came up with, just using those simple little phrases. It really made me want to read some more of his information or some more of his DVD because it's simple and it's so brilliant.
Yeah, again, he's come to Shannon's, and so I bought like one of his 12-pack audios, and yeah, it's definitely good information. Anthony or Dana, anything you want to share either from that video or just from some of the training you've heard from Big Al in the past?
I would say one thing that stuck with me because I'm sorry. One thing that stuck with me from Big Al, because I've gone through like most of his training too, is his needs versus wants. And I thought that was very powerful when it came to talking to people, because I guess that's the yellow part of me. I want things for people and I know that they need it, but I have to separate when I'm communicating with others what I know they need versus what they really want. So I love how he uses the scenario that, you know, everyone knows we need to exercise, right? But not everybody wants to get up early and go out and run. So needs versus wants. Everybody needs, you know, better health, oils, and to live toxic free, but they might not want to make those changes. So I feel like it makes it easier when we are going to people and we get those no's, because it can separate our emotions out of that scenario. Tashina went away.
I just realized that I had to turn something off. Okay, Julie, you want to share some great, wonderful tips about Big Al?
I love Big Al. He's got CD collections. You can find him all over YouTube. If you haven't had a chance to listen to him, do so. He's just a down-to-earth guy who knows how to speak to people. I'm not sure if it's in the same section, but there was a short clip of Scott Schuler and one of his friends. They were talking about, I'm not sure if this is, I'm sure it's in the same section. I'm just not sure if you want to go there yet. But where he was talking about the opportunity and how you say it to people. Did anybody watch that video? It's just a short one, like 3 minutes, where he's talking to his friend about how not to talk about the opportunity to people and then how to talk to somebody. And just a few little words that get tweaked in there makes a huge difference. Just listening to it. It's like, oh, you know, you curl it the first time and then the second time it's like, yeah, I want into that. So it's just a short little video in there that Scott does with one of his friends that is worth watching. I tried to figure out how to copy that link and post it into Happy Oilers, but I couldn't do it. I didn't know how.
Yeah, I think if the videos are directly from Young Living and they're on Vimeo, you can do it, but you can find them on there. But unless it's actually a YouTube video or a Vimeo video, I think it might just be stuck in there.
So for anybody who's on here, it's in there and it's quite good. I mean, it's not, I mean, he's not a professional, but the idea behind it is very good to learn from.
So technically, I think that's part of next week's.
Oh, I have it under the share thing. That's why I wasn't sure. I'm sorry.
No, it is under the share section, but because there was a lot under the believe section. I said we only needed to go over the effective communication portion. So it's kind of the effective communication is kind of moved over because I was just thinking Big Al was an hour if you watched it. And then Rise of the Entrepreneur was an hour if you watched it, plus trying to find at least one other reading material or at least, you know, taking the test. So I just thought to break that up would be a little bit. Plus, we're going to talk a lot about tools next week. So But that's good to know that that video connects with how using the proper language, you know, and which makes sense. It's all in the same section. So it'll give some practical application in our specific business of what Big Al is teaching.
Yeah.
So. Alrighty. So we actually have 15 minutes left, guys. We never do this. But I've pretty much shared what I needed to. And we have a couple people that weren't able to talk. I don't know, Aisha or Andrea, did you guys have any questions? And then Jenny, if you can put in the chat. I mean, I know we ended the last month. We tried to implement a lot of things from the Star Planner. Are there any challenges that you guys have come across? Any other questions or any things that we can help you guys with? Anybody on the call, really? But I was just thinking of maybe some of our newer people. Hey.
No, I don't have any questions right now.
I think I'm okay. I'm a little behind in actually doing some of the paperwork, but I've gone over everything and I'm okay with what I actually have to do.
So I just have a quick question for everybody that's been on the call, because you know the fact that you individuals are on tonight, that means that they've been consistent. How have you guys been benefiting? Have you been finding this to be beneficial for you guys? It seems like it has been, and I'm hearing good things every time you ladies get on the call. So how has that been benefiting you?
Good question.
I see Jennifer's got a thumbs up. She's shaking her head. Yes, it's been helping her.
For me, Tashina was very gracious a while back and spent some time on the phone while I thought out loud and discussed what I needed. And this was really a godsend because it's giving me concrete information in a constructive and building way. So I think going over it myself would have been beneficial because I hadn't gone through the training in all this time. But going through it in this format was even better because you get the little pieces here and there, and somebody brings something and like, oh, I never thought about it applied this way or that way. And having you guys leading this, you've been fabulous. I mean, absolutely fabulous in leading the group and directing our thoughts. So I couldn't be more thankful. And I just recently thought about, I have one downline member who would like to work the business, but he's hitting barriers. He's deaf and he's got his own little agenda as well, but he had gone through the STAR training. So I sent him the replays because I because I missed 2 weeks ago, I think. So I watched the replay and I discovered it was captioned. So I thought, this is fantastic. So I sent him the links to all of the recorded materials, and I told him to think about it. If he wants to join, we'll figure out some way to bring me. I'll sit somewhere where it's easier to see me clearly, and I might interpret it live for him. But I never expected it to be this. I expected it to be beneficial, but I didn't expect it to be so motivating and beneficial, and because I'm a born skeptic and I'm resistant to everything. So thank you for doing this, because I would have never thought to do it on my own.
I'm glad to hear that, Andrea.
Just a tidbit for him. If you get him involved with Vital 180 on Facebook, a lot of Brenda's talks that she does are real inspiring, encouraging, and she usually, not everyone, but most of them, she has a signer. I don't know what the proper name is, signing her talks.
Sign language interpreter.
Yeah, it may be beneficial for him. I don't know, but you could watch a few and see. And if you think they're beneficial, you can always direct him to those.
I think Brenda's fabulous, but I know she uses 2 people. I think the one is an actual interpreter, but one of them I could not watch. Now, I know I'm a little fussy. I've been in the deaf community for 30 years, and I don't expect everybody to have my level of signing skills, but one of them was so bad I couldn't watch her. I wanted to kill myself, and so I thought, I sent it to 2 of my deaf friends, one more English and one more grammatical ASL. And both of them came back with they couldn't watch it either. The one that was more grammatical ASL was completely lost, could not understand her at all. And the one that was ASL was Diego, who I was talking about. And he said, do not ever send me anything to watch with her on it again because I will have to puncture eyes out. I was like, okay, so I'm not the only one. So I saw the other girl that was interpreting, and she was a little bit better, but they're not great. They're not great. So I know Brenda's trying to do the best she can for the community, and I know she's got some deaf people in the downline, but I don't know how to tell her find somebody else.
You can always text her or call Tara and tell Tara. You tell her you're 30 years in the business and or in the community, and they may listen. But for now, that's what they're trying to do. And I know several people. Jordan Schrant, although she could not get connected last night, had 10,000 people were going to be on that call, and she was trying to connect in with an interpreter and could not get it done. So more and more people are, trying to fill that need. But you're gonna have to not kill yourself and bear with it to be able to see it come to fruition.
Maybe it's some positive criticism rather than just threatening to commit Harry-Carry.
Yeah. Oh. This team had an awesome month. You guys all had a really, really good month. And I know I put it in a Facebook page, but no one seems to read any of that. So I'm going to say it here and now, you all did phenomenal. In every month, it's just climbing and climbing, and I can see the teams expanding and new members coming on board, and more are taking hold of the opportunity. It's just growing before our eyes. And yes, I know it's because you guys have been, doing it for a while and really plugging along, but I think it's all coming together. And you guys should be really proud of yourselves, especially you 3. I mean, Jenny, you did really well last month. Everybody on this thing did, but you 3, Mats and Gonzalez, you guys have just kept this together and keep it going and keep pushing, and you have this focus. It's amazing.
Thank you, Julie.
Alrighty, I can add to the question as well. I mean, for me, I think, like Julie mentioned a little bit earlier, I forget, the videos and the tools that are out there that Young Living has provided. And it's really been my goal since the beginning of the year to answer every question with a tool. With a tool, it's the reason why I do my Feel Good Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, whenever I feel like doing it, is because I'm trying to create a library of tools for people that when someone says, I can't sleep, I can just send them a video. If they say, what are oils about? I can send them a video. If they say, oh my goodness, I feel like I'm going to die from my period, I can send them a video. So me re-going through this is refreshing in my mind what section I need to direct my downline to, what tools are available, how to answer their specific questions. I didn't, with all the videos we had to watch, I didn't have a chance to re-go through the game plan, the comparable portion of it, but I'll make sure I get through a lot of it. I like comparing the game plan to it and picking nuggets out of that as well, because we know that she's very red-blue. She puts a little bit more fun in it than the Vital 180 does. So I really feel like it's refining my skills to do this as a person that's trying to set the example and being able to direct people to where they need to go.
Yeah, for instance, at the very beginning of that, I don't know what section it was. The one before EOs in your life. I'm not sure which section it was, but it talked about, just the ER program versus quick order and breaks it all down real nice and neat. And so if you have a problem, not a problem, if you have difficulty understanding that or explaining it to people, or or just really getting it down pat in your head what the difference between ER and quick order and when you should do one or the other or whatever, go back there and listen to those videos. They're there. And that's a great idea, Tashina, to answer questions with videos, because really that puts the responsibility on them to watch it, and then maybe even save that video for the next person who asks that same question of them.
Right.
That's a really good idea.
Video, graphic, blog post, whatever it is. Because eventually, they're gonna ask us 5 different questions, and I direct them to the Young Living blog that I've mentioned. There's a Young Living blog 5 times, and then they're gonna be like, well, every time I ask her for a recipe, she tells me to go to the blog, so I should just go to the blog. Because Tashina doesn't have recipes. She's not a do-it-yourselfer. I got to go to the blog to find it for you anyway, so I might as well show you how you can get it yourself without asking the question next time.
Next week's thing? Because I found that too. I was in the blog, and one of the things in there was the 15 dirtiest spots in your house. And I never knew that was in there, and I thought, man, that is the greatest post. I mean, I'm going to use that when we do our thieves thing next month. But there's so many articles in there I never realized, because I just don't look. And they are there to be taken and used. So, yeah, it's opening my eyes again.
Right. We all need the reminders.
I think when we went through this the first time, we went through it. It's not that we're not being students. We're a different type of student now. When we first went through it, we were just hungry to learn and wanted to know everything about oils and the company, But now it's like a deeper understanding of how, and you've had this for a while, Tashina, but I am growing to how much information is there for us to use for our own benefit, to share with others so that they can educate themselves through that same venue.
Right.
And I have never really used it, and there's so much there to be used. It's amazing.
Right. Yep. So for next week, what we're going to do is we're going to go through the share section. And then again, for anybody who this is just your first time tuning in to the replay, always try to do what you missed this time. No, I know, Aisha, you missed a little bit. So, you're going to want to go through the live, believe, and all of this share section. And then in that share section, so that's where the first thing is the blog that you just mentioned. We want to how to invite in a way that creates interest, highlight the opportunity, use your tools, how and why to use tools, and a video on developing relationships. So that's what we're going to be focusing on, is using our tools. So bring the tools that work for you. If there's, again, we know different personalities like different things. So if there's some tools that are outside of it, bring what tools work for you, share your favorite tools and why we need to use tools to build our business. And then Dana and Anthony, what is the most important tool that we should be leveraging this week?
Our rally.
There's a rally. So
bring your cowboy hat.
So once again, if you're in the area, go ahead, grab your ticket and join us. For those that have blues on their team, we're gonna have fun. For us blue people, I've even gotten a buddy of mine who's a DJ to pitch in for pro bono as his contribution. So there will be music and dancing and all of that. So
costumes. There's gonna be a dance party. It's gonna be great. I just ordered my costume a couple days ago. So, and I mean, seriously, if you're in Northern Ohio, if you're in Indiana and you've came for Shannon thing but didn't make it to our last one, like the quality of the speakers that we have is like going to be a mini 1/4 of Shannon's event. Like, I'm so ridiculously excited about who we have at this rally. I mean, we have Dr. Joel Kahn, a world-renowned cardiac doctor that is on the news, has his own like show, has books, and he's going to be there with his vegan lifestyle, which is like everyone in the world either wants to be keto or vegan right now. So like 50% of your friends need to be there because they want to be vegan. So to come hear him speak. And then we have a holistic individual that is all into weight loss and diet. So that's super amazing. And then we're going to have a men's panel. So we are used to having our rallies and there's like 3 men there. You need to get a ticket for your husband to this rally. Like, we're going to have a men's panel. We're going to be interviewing a single man, a man that joined his wife when she was silver to help her move to the next level, and a man who's been sitting next to his wife, helping her with executive and helping her get to silver. So, you know, like I posted in the group, people are like, oh, just make money. Once you hit like silver or gold, your husband will come on board. But we want him on board before that. So that's what this is. This panel is designed for you to do. So I want to see more than 3 guys at this rally. I want to see more than just the people that are working the rally at the rally, because we're going to have information specifically for them. We're going to have the products on the table. So we're going to have our makeup kits on the table, but we're also going to have the men's products on the table. So we're going to have Shutran and the shave cream and the Cool Azul gel and all the stuff for the guys to play with as well. So it's a huge thing. Western, John Wayne. Your man has some jeans and the flannel in his closet already. It's not a big deal. And we are going to have tons of fun and have great information from people who are in the industry, health and wellness industry, and are going to be able to share some great stuff with us. So super, super excited. Please share on your page. Even if you're not in Michigan, share it on your page. You may have somebody that's within 4 hours that might be interested, and just tell them when they get there that we need to sign them up on your team. So everybody that is in Happy Oiler family needs to be sharing on their page, because you don't know who knows somebody that might want to come that's within driving distance.
I wish I was going to be in town. No.
Next time.
Well, we're going to continue to collaborate. I actually met another holistic doctor and an individual that I'm trying to get on my team that does acupuncture. And one of the people in the office is in the Young Living as well. And he immediately put the flyer up on the board for me. So it might be making some more cross-line connections and having some more talks like this at future rallies. So just keep, like you said, the team keeps expanding, making better relationships and growing. And our rallies are going to be a reflection of that. But make sure all your team that is in town.
What are those?
Okay.
She's got a whole slew of stuff here. Not Young Living. I'm just snooping around. I noticed.
There you go. You got work to do.
I'm sorry.
All right. Well, that's our time. We're going to try to keep it to an hour.
Yep.
So we'll look forward to seeing everyone at the rally that can make it this weekend, and then on the call next Sunday. If you can, get your team on the call, because you want to be duplicatable. So we'll look forward to that. And till then, everyone have a good night.
Bye. Thank you,
Everybody, thanks.
Okay. For the rally.
Good night.
Good night.